shows here is Hot Prospects, where we discuss how to turn your lead generation into a burning inferno. I am back again with Ryan Smith, the old Canuck, north of the border. You know, Ryan, I know you're a real estate farmer, and in the old days, that meant stomping around on actual terra firma. These days, farming has gone digital.
Yep. Yeah, it's a big shift that a lot of agents have not put two and two together. And when they hear farming, they think of the traditional sense of farming, which is sending a bunch of postcards, going out and door knocking. And the reality is there's so many more opportunities for us to do geographic farming, but we have to be open to them and see a bigger plan on how we can tie it together. And today,
so you're saying that you can put those recipe cards, those recipe
in the garbage
postcards. I thought you were going to say I could just email them now.
You could do that. I would. That's a whole nother video on recipe cards. I want to talk about Facebook groups and how impactful those are for agents and the opportunities, because I truly believe it is one of the most underutilized resources that we have at our disposal that is free and super condensed. Like I'll dive into it in a minute, but I think.
Well, first of all, I have to say that that I have an open mind, and I'd love to hear what you have to say on this topic. But I personally do not like the Facebook groups that are geared toward real estate agents, because I think it attracts a bunch of people that have a real estate license, but that's about it. They don't have many clients, and so they give bad advice all day.
Yep.
So I just had to put that out there because it's one of my pet peeves in this business. And so I'm sure you're going to enlighten us with a much better technique on how to utilize this as a tool.
Yes,
so
exactly.
Please.
So
make me smile.
Exactly. So the two approaches I would say is looking for existing Facebook groups that are already in existence and participating in those, or creating your own. So I'm going to go with the first one and discuss that, because then we can talk about some of the things you can learn from that and then how we can apply it to your own. So I would be looking for hyper local community Facebook groups. So there's a few different categories that you could look for. A lot of times you'll have community groups. So it's just general. So let's say the Orchard was where I farmed. So there was a group called the Orchard, Life in the Orchard, I think it was called.
So wait, this is like a neighborhood or a town or what?
Yep. It's a neighborhood in the city. So it was around the community that was farming. You could have it your town or your city or your overall area. Where we live now, we're participating in a bunch of them. There's one for Fort Erie, which is where I live. And then there's an area that we farm, which is Crescent Park. So there's citizens of Crescent Park, and there's different things. So I would be looking for narrowed down Facebook groups for people living in the area. Now, some people may be sitting there going, ugh, it's just drama and people complaining. And there is. However, we're looking for opportunity, and we want to sift through that to find gold, because there is a tremendous amount of opportunity, because the people in there live in the area you serve. They are having conversations on a daily basis that we can listen to, and we never could have done that before. In the past, marketers would have paid a fortune to be able to tune in and actually listen to people having conversations in real time about things that affect them. So
you're fly on the wall.
That's exactly. So I want to start, before I dive into that, is explain the difference between pages and groups, because I think this is, if you've never really used Facebook for business, a lot of people just default to, I got to set up a Facebook page. And I'll give you just a really easy way to understand how or what the difference is. So with Facebook pages, it's more of a push message. So it's used to push your branding, your message out there. It's more one way than two way. It's more of just get my message out there. So I always say Facebook pages is talking at your audience. If I was standing on a stage and I'm talking at the audience and I'm not interacting, that's kind of like Facebook pages. People are there. Hopefully they're paying attention to you and you're pushing your message out to them.
Facebook, it's the bullhorn.
Exactly. Facebook groups is talking with your audience. It's at a party. If you think about being at a party and you can mix and mingle, there's maybe a couple of people talking over here, a couple of people talking over here. You can jump into those conversations. Yeah, there's a few people that had too much over to drink over there. But you can join in, or you can just listen. It might be a little creepy if you're just, but the good thing is with Facebook groups, no one knows you
can be
standing there. Exactly. So the good thing is you can, don't do that. You're hearing real-time conversations. So you're hearing people complain, which is an opportunity. You're hearing people, because people think of that's a bad thing. When people complain about problems, you can become a problem solver. And this is what I believe is that
when you carry a toolbox, then you want people coming forward with broken things.
Exactly. So we are able to hear people have these conversations when they're in these groups. Now, there's going to be people who are just jerks, and you can see right away they're a jerk. And this is, again, another benefit to being part of these groups is you can see very quickly what people are like. And you can eliminate those people out of your, I don't want to work with them. You can get a vibe for this person's a miserable person. This person's helpful. This person's kind. This person's half decent. This person's funny. Whereas if you just,
I've never thought of that, man. That's like which listings not to take.
Exactly. And we have a slight inside look into that. And my partner, Nikki, she's big in the groups and she's joining it. And we say like, well, she'll be like, oh, look at this conversation. I'm like, oh, don't even talk. Like just ignore that person, delete that comment. Don't. Because they kind of show themselves on there. Now, I'm not saying you should write off everyone based on some chats in the groups.
Yeah.
But
sometimes people are having a bad day, right?
Exactly. But if you're in those groups, you're going to start to see opportunities to shine. And tying in the themes of some of the videos we've done before is when people are asking for suggestions and they're asking for help, we have an opportunity to step up and not throw our hat in the ring saying I'm the best real estate agent. But if someone says, hey, I'm looking for a contractor. Hey, I'm looking for a plumber. Hey, I'm looking for a great restaurant. Hey, I'm looking for whatever. We can be that person who says, hey, talk to so-and-so. If we did, like we talked in some of the videos, is doing local business interviews or things to do in the community, we can use that to propagate and share in the groups. And people start to see you as a person who's there to help them. And I think the shift in that is that when we are there helping people with local stuff, it positions us, like we talked about before, as being an ambassador and an expert without having to be that bull crap salesperson. But then you can also see opportunities.
You're a connector.
Exactly. Yeah. A digital connector. But what you can see is there's opportunity. So I'm going to share a quick story in this, and I want to throw it back on you. Is Nikki, she was outdoor knocking, because I believe her in door knocking and cold calling, the other stuff, and tying together.
And also because you've got a gazillion tchotchkes in a box in the garage you got to get rid of.
Exactly. So one of the things I teach people is look for signs of someone thinking about making a move. And there's a couple different things you can do. Obviously, a for sale by owner sign is an obvious sign, but a lot of people look for that. But there's other opportunities like dumpster bins. And if you see a dumpster bin on someone's driveway, they're either doing renovations to their home or they're clearing out their home because they're probably doing something major in that home. That is a sign.
They got to throw all those skeletons out of the
Exactly. And the tchotchkes that I gave them.
That's right. They got a whole closet full.
Yeah, exactly. Or, so yeah, they're probably making a move, or they're maybe doing a renovation. So you could help them. Say, hey, and I had a letter I did up and say, hey, I noticed you had a dumpster in your driveway. I talk about the local agent in the area. We have a couple different things. Usually when people do this, they're usually doing one or two things. They're thinking about making a move and they're getting ready, or they're doing some renovations. If you're doing some renovations, I'd love to come in and give you a home valuation when you're done the renovations. And I'd give you an idea of what your home is worth when all said and done. You're building a connection to the database. Or if you are thinking about making a move, I could help you out and give you a home evaluation as well. So that's an easy opportunity. Or people have the storage pods where they put their stuff in there. So that's an easy thing. So in the groups, there's a lot of opportunities like that as well. Garage sales. The problem
with those pods, though, is that normally they're just kicking out their 35-year-old son finally and pushing him off.
Exactly. Hopefully not in the pod, but yeah.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, in the group, there are telltale signs in that group that you can participate and jump in.
You said garage sales, yard sales. Another one that I look for is trees growing in the gutter. So these little tiny Charlie Brown Christmas trees growing out of the gutter, or where the front bushes are growing so like they look like they need a haircut. They get the long branches that start to come out and they start to eclipse the roof line. It just starts to look like that no one's caring for this property any longer.
Exactly. And that's where when you start to then suggest people in these groups, say, hey, I noticed this, or you asked a question about this, I'd love to recommend so-and-so. So one of the things I've suggested agents do is instead of having like your own business card, have digital business cards for local businesses that you like. And on that, it's just an image that says the Premier Home Group or whatever your team is, the 40-year home group recommends so-and-so. And then when someone asks for a tree company, someone asks for a plumber, you can share that in the group and it has your branding on there in just a subtle way, but with all their information on there. And you can use that to now tie in the local businesses that you support, get them in front of people, and you look like a hero. And that's a way to start to be seen as an ambassador. Another opportunity.
You get another pin on your ambassador.
Exactly, which I should put together. And
Yours
then
would be just dragging the floor with all the pins all over it.
I could sell it at the garage sale, and then someone will approach me trying to sell my home. So yeah, the groups, there's opportunity that way. And then there are opportunities like there are real estate groups for the community. They're not as common, but you can get involved in those. Another one is things to do in the community group. So that's one of the things I've taught in the past is creating one of those. But if they aren't existing, then you could create your own. And some people say, well, those groups aren't in my area. Perfect. If there aren't those kind of groups, start one of those groups, because now you become the hub of that and you can control that and be the ambassador. Then you can run the group. So it could be the Crescent Park group, community group, brought to you by the 40 Home Team, or brought to you by the Crescent Park Home Team, or whatever. And then you become the ambassador for that group. And then you start to grow it. It takes time and energy. And that's I could teach a whole session on that, but it's really becoming and adding value to people. So when you look at groups, think of it differently and not just socializing. Think of it how you can problem solve. And I think that's the key to that.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I really like this idea. Because you are now an eavesdropper, a digital eavesdropper, lawfully, and they're inviting you to do it, right?
Yep.
And so you can blend in with the wallpaper, and then right when the moment is right, you just pounce, pull out your claws, start referring people, start getting to know the personalities, know what's actually happening in those communities. When I was a new agent and I would go on a listing appointment, then somebody'd say, oh, you know that house over there with the crazy old lady, all the cats? And I'd be like, no. Like, hey, do you remember that one that burned down 6 months ago? Like, no. Well, if you can, digitally spy on these people and all their conversations, they're going to dish all that stuff right out there onto a Facebook group, and they're going to talk about that somebody in our neighborhood about a year ago, some woman murdered her mother. Now, I live in a very nice neighborhood where the houses cost more than they should, but this happened in our little neighborhood, and guess what was going on Facebook? All about it. Here's her mugshot. I can't believe, I remember when that kid was a little girl, I always had problems with her, and so guess what? Now maybe that property needs to be sold.
Yep.
And so you can go and knock on the door. Hey, I'm sorry to hear what happened here, but I can, help if I can. Yep. Ryan, you've given us a lot to think about with that. And you know something? We started this off on me saying that I absolutely abhor Facebook groups, but it turns out that I actually don't. It's just the ones that are full of real estate agents, I think, that I'm not a fan of. Thank you for your insight. And I would also like to add that if you are out there in this world listening to this conversation and you found any value whatsoever, give us a thumbs up. I think that we may have earned it at this point. Share this with a friend. Come back for another video. Ryan, thanks a lot. We'll see you again.
Thanks for having me.
Toodles.